So, previously in Final Fantasy XIII, we have had an actual, literal sewer level. And, you know, everyone always knows the cliche about RPGs and sewer levels and that they're all dull. But, actually, when you think about it, this is the real sewer level of Final Fantasy XIII. Like, it's big, it's empty, it's mostly featureless, everything's brown and grey and dirty, there's nothing to do, everything looks the same, it's really long, it's really boring.
Looks the same because it's literally copy-pasted. This is the 5th metro station we're in, the 3rd, I don't know.
Yeah, I've kind of not been bothered enough to count. Anyway, imps?
Yes, imps are... They're a little bit unique. The theme of this area in general is do to summon other dudes. And, as you can see, we have a new guy. The guy in green here, the Ahriman. He casts Sphera instead of fire, but he can only be summoned if they complete their little conjuring attack. So if you knock him out fast enough, you don't have to deal with him.
Do you have to knock all of them out, or can you just have to knock one?
You just have to knock the one that is summoning out.
Okay, I thought it was a group thing.
No, it's just that one.
Yeah, he's like bowing down and stuff. It's moderately obvious that he's doing it, I think, and it's a good gimmick, I think, for otherwise throwaway enemy. It's better than these snails that actually do nothing.
Yeah, I thought it would have been like kind of cool if the summoning thing was a group. Hey, you got exactly 10,000 points. There should be like a trophy for that or some shit.
But it would be a pain to get if you want to get it.
There should also be a trophy for killing an enemy with fall damage. That was a lie, please don't ever make trophies for either of those things.
And this is why you're not allowed to design the trophies, Phil.
Yeah.
But could you design a better game than this?
Well, I'm pretty sure most people could design a better game than this. Actually program, implement, and develop and produce that game. Okay, now we're struggling, but game design is a floaty and nebulous topic.
Definitely. But I mean, you could definitely learn from some mistakes here and avoid them, which are moderately obvious, like not put the same group of enemy in the same dungeon. Like these force slimes, oozes.
So, yeah, we have a new behemoth. And let me tell you about how threatening this new behemoth is.
You back attacked him and will now kill him with launch? Yes.
Oh, he took 23 fall damage. That's something.
He will die from the fall damage now? No, he won't.
No, it was real close, but he didn't.
For a second there, I thought, like, holy shit, did I accidentally just make the best time joke in all of LP?
And yeah, this is kind of a problem with the back attacks in this game, because he of course has a stagger bar that only maxes out at 600%, so he was immediately getting 6 times the damage, or not 6 but 4 times the damage that a staggered berserker gets.
It's actually almost slightly interesting how you can have a system like the stagger thing, where you can have enemies with your massive stagger threshold and resistance, but the fact that they have such a high threshold also makes them more vulnerable to backstabbing. It's kind of like, oh, like, this actually seems to somewhat reflect the tactical choice of trying to be a large threatening thing rather than a small mobile thing. But that would probably be giving the game too much credit.
Yeah, the thing is that the game doesn't really make too much out of the back attacks. It's like some of the enemies are clearly designed for you to get a back attack on, but with most of the enemies they don't bother at all. And the way this game works in how dodgy the back attack system actually is, it needs to be designed for you to get a back attack in almost all of the cases.
To be completely fair, I don't think this game bothers to make much of any of the interesting things that it possesses.
Yeah, that is kind of the big problem with the game, or one of the biggest problems with the game, because it is legitimately interesting in a lot of cases. I'm willing to give it that much credit, It's just not interesting enough to make up for the incessant boredom it has in most other places.
And I wonder what would have happened if like they tried to do for this game what they did for Final Fantasy XIV. Because when you think about it, it has the same kinds of problems in that it languished in development hell, got over-designed by artists. Absolutely nothing in it was even remotely considered or thought through in any way that's appropriate for the actual product that was released, and generally it was a piece of shit. So what would have happened if they brought in Yoshi P to deal with Final Fantasy XIII? Man can dream.
I think a lot of that is actually addressed in 13.2, because 13.2 builds a lot on what Final Fantasy XIII's strengths were. It kind of goes too much in the other direction of making it a little too trivial and too, I guess you guys will burn that bridge when you come to it. But I think it's a valiant effort in addressing the problems that 13 has and kind of recognizes a lot of them.
Alright, so yeah, we just saw the behemoth, the greater behemoth's second form. This time, they don't just stand up, they also get a full heal. And he can also inflict pain, although he didn't get a chance to do it. But yeah, just wanted to briefly show that off.
Yeah, that's like the behemoth design, generally, not just the mechanical sense, but the actual the aesthetic design of the thing is one of the few things in Final Fantasy XIII that I actually completely, really actually like all of the aspects of it.
Oh yeah, the behemoths are great. They're great to fight usually. They're very nice in that the reskins actually do stuff and don't have bigger numbers. They're really, really different enemies. And I also like the enemy design in general, how when they stand up and take that thing as a weapon that has been on their bodies all the time, that is really good.
They took a classic Final Fantasy enemy type, and they just expanded on it a little. They made it do a couple of really cool things. It's interesting. It's noteworthy.
It's fun.
Yeah. All of the things about it are just really cool. And it shows that someone, somewhere in this goddamn development team is actually capable of thinking seriously about video games.
So, Crystarium here, not a whole lot of importance. Fang just got Fog, and Saz actually is to the point where he's starting to get some of the defensive abilities. He just got Bar Fire and Bar Thunder.
Barf.
Which is, that's good. It's a good start. But, unfortunately, Protect and Shell come a lot later.
Ah. Well, this seems like a perfect time for me to talk about another interesting video game design thing. Which is, I think, I started this video saying that this place was basically a sewer level. But actually, I think that this level is really more of an Obsidian game style of dungeon.
You traitor!
I mean, think about it. It's large, empty, desolate, doesn't have a very large amount of interesting stuff in it. The only thing of any note is one person standing in the middle of it who is basically hostile to you and will talk at you lots and lots and lots and lots and lots.
I think I completely missed where he actually betrayed the party before.
You didn't. You go straight from, hey, I'm your bro, I'm gonna help you into the Palamecia in Chapter 9 to this.
Oh, okay. So I always thought that I wasn't paying attention enough, but I should have known better.
Oh, by the way, if any of my spiel just then sounded familiar to anyone, it was because it was basically recycled verbatim from Scorchy's Knights of the Old Republic 2 LP, which if you have not read, you should.
The Maker?
The entity responsible for creating both humans and fal'Cie.
Now we're getting some mythology.
Long ago,
boy.
the Maker departed this
I hope you guys have read the data logs.
the two races
say, so yeah, a lot of people were asking, like, oh, why doesn't Barthandelus just, destroy Cocoon himself, and why are they doing this? Yeah, here's your plot dump, this is why.
And it's all set over a recycled video from Chapter 8.
I think it even moderately makes sense, it's just far too late because all of the questions like this makes no sense have already been asked time and time again by the player, and it kind of solidified the opinion that this plot is terrible, which it not entirely is, but it explained itself far too late.
100% of players have just stopped caring about the mythology of the world by this point.
Exactly.
But it's there,
Calling back the Maker
and it's cited in the plot.
requires a fitting sacrifice.
Yeah, we've heard. The
No,
destruction
Lightning,
of
you
Cocoon.
didn't hear about this
The
at all
lives of
before.
this world's entire
Maybe she's read the data logs.
in bloody
Yeah,
copies.
it's like we don't know about this at all. She does as she pretends that it has been foreshadowed already, but it's just not the case. If it had been, then there would have been less people saying that the plot makes no sense.
Of this floating shell. It is their very nature that holds.
So yeah, this is the closest we're going to get to a coherent explanation of the plot of Final Fantasy XIII.
Yeah, it's still far too long and meandering, so I mean this is the big dichotomy, because we're clamoring for more explanations and earlier explanations, which seems like we are just asking for more cutscenes, which is obviously bad, but we also should be asking in the same breath for more concise and logical
What happened to your
cutscenes.
dream of rebuilding Cocoon for the people? Was it all a lie?
Yeah.
A shadow of a dream.
It's like they have been repeating the same tired and non-explaining things at all bullshit for far too long, and then within this single cutscene, which is still on its own far too long, they obviously show us how they haven't foreshadowed enough and need to explain everything at once.
It's a complete failure
It was me.
on more or less every level it's possible for a video game plot to fail on.
A lassie, tied to an inescapable.
It's like the concept is still. I'll defend the concept. This is a cool idea for a story. They just completely botched the execution at every level.
Yeah, I think this is what he was getting at. And I will also say, again, the plot itself is not that bad, I'm fine with the plot. It's how it is told that is terrible and completely indefensible in every way.
Brought back that future I once strove for.
Have you noticed that half of his collar is popped and the other half is not?
Will challenge my
So he's like a half douchebag?
I just thought that was a nice, additional dumb thing with which we can cap off this list of dumb things that we are going through relating to this aspect of the plot.
If I can defeat you here.
Though Zid actually is a pretty interesting character in his own right, I think. It's just like with every other character, he doesn't nearly get enough screen time, but at least we can fight him as a boss, unlike some other woman I will not mention, because the game certainly will never again.
Yeah.
Alright, so it's us versus Sid Reigns.
So it's the sea versus the sea now?
So this is probably my favorite fight in the game, because it is, for lack of any better way to put it, fair. He is a lassie. He fights under the exact same rules we do.
You remember a couple videos back when we went into a random tangent about Platinum games? This right here is Final Fantasy XIII's Platinum-style mirror match.
Yeah, you say he has three paradigms: offensive shift, defensive shift, and recovery shift. In offensive shift, you get what he's doing right now. He was running around, he's punching the shit out of us, he's throwing ruin guz. In defensive shift, he will sit there and guard, and pretty much do nothing. This is your chance to get your buffs up, this is your chance to get some chain gauge going, and you just pretty much heal up and get ready for the next round.
Will he counter stuff when you hit him with it?
No. He pretty much just stands there and does nothing, and after a while he'll switch back to offensive shift.
Basically, it's just some time that you can get some stuff done.
After that, he doesn't always do it, but occasionally he will switch into recovery shift, which is basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. He'll heal himself, he'll cure his debuffs, and then he'll switch back to offensive shift, and you rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it's really cool, really dynamic, and probably shows off how the game could be if it were really good all the time. More of this would definitely go a long way to make this entire ordeal actually fun.
Since Square seems so determined to make more and more and more Final Fantasy XIII and have it make less and less and less sense, why can't we have a prequel set during the War of Transgression, so we can have an excuse to have loads of L'Cie fighting each other, and just paradigm shifting all over the place?
Isn't that basically what Type 0 is?
I don't know.
Also wouldn't. I haven't played that. Actually, I don't know anything about it.
I'm kind of uneasy about playing that, just mostly because of the amount of shitstorming that went down over the translation patch. You know, not that I would know anything about translation patch drama, but some stuff happened.
Yeah, I've absorbed it passively. But I don't have anything to play it on anyway, so I don't need to play every single Final Fantasy game. I'm more of a casual fan.
Yeah, and to think, I was, like, when I heard that they were doing a remake, I was kind of looking forward to a Vita port, because, you know, it's me. I was that guy who bought a Japanese modded Vita for video capture, and he is going One-Winged Angel on us, except not.
That is his big attack. Seraphic Ray is... It does a decent amount of damage, about 600 or 700 to everybody, but most importantly, it will clear all of the buffs and debuffs off of everybody.
Yes, this is the big one, big thing that actually throws a lot of... it throws you off basically, and makes you stay on your toes even more so than you have had to do before. And I also really like it.
And it's a double-edged sword, because he will also throw out Poison Ga, Slow Ga. I mean, he's got debuffs too that he will use, and if he uses Seraphic Ray, it will clear all of those as well.
Oh wow, he just tried to daze everyone.
Yeah, he did.
Well, that could have gone poorly.
But yeah, that's pretty much the fight in a nutshell. You just kind of go and go and go, and after the first couple cycles, the game stops telling you when he changes paradigms.
Oh.
So you'll just see him stop attacking, and then that's your cue that he's in guard.
That's a surprisingly subtle dick move.
Well, you also see him fold his wings like this, and the word guard pops up above him. But still, it's more subtle than anything else before.
Yeah, anything else would have just had literal mid-battle cutscenes.
I'm gonna say, if you can get poison on him, you really, really want poison on him, because that will fucking wreck his shit.
Yeah, remember, poison in Final Fantasy XIII is a big fucking deal.
And of course, I just got it on there, and then he immediately did Seraphic Ray again, so...
The big problem really with realizing how good poison actually is the overinflation of everything here. So you don't actually see numbers pop up, and even if you did, you probably wouldn't notice because so many other numbers are popping up. But it's really subtle how good poison is, and this is not a game that does subtlety well.
Yeah, but it's just the thing that it's a matter of it dawning on you that poison deals percentage-based damage over time, and that's because it's not like doing single hits that are subject to damage caps, that it will always take an amount of time to kill enemies, and if they have buckets of health, then poison just becomes astronomically more effective than just continuing to hit them.
There's also a big problem with the game itself, which I think could be fixed relatively easily with some in-game tutorials that are actually communicated through gameplay, like the like the thing with the auto-replenishing ATB bars, etc. If you knew about that beforehand, then the game would be a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's one of the incredible things about you know, the badness of this game is how close it comes to being fun, and how frequently it does it.
And this is also something which I really think makes the game really interesting to look at and to talk about in comparison to other games that are just bad. because this could easily be good, just as evinced by all of the talk we and effort we put into how would we fix this problem and couldn't we do something about these cutscenes or whatever. Because it seems like it would not be that hard to make something that is legitimately enjoyable throughout from this, because it sometimes is.
By the way, was that a fade just now? Did we just change to a different run?
No, I cut out a couple minutes. Because it's a good fight. We've seen it all though. We've seen everything he does, so there's no point in showing you the 2 or 3 minutes in between where he sits there and he heals, and then I have to put all the buffs back up, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but you don't really notice that it takes this long, because this is entertaining throughout, and this is really the big thing which elevates this above a lot of other things, like Berserker fights, for example.
Also, he just dropped an accessory, a shop, and a new level of Crystarium.
Yeah, he's cool in my book.
Yeah, Sid is loaded.
Well, not anymore, he isn't.
Ironic, isn't
No,
it?
it's not.
The only thing I wanted was a moment of triumph.
I don't see how that's ironic.
How it ends isn't important. Just do what you
And the one unfair thing about this being a mirror match is that if we change paradigms and or use our LC powers, we don't get cool crystal hair.
Yeah!
What's up with that?
What? Did he complete his focus?
Sars here asking the right
I
questions.
don't think so. All Reigns did was try to save Cocoon in his own way.
Remember this, because they are going to pull this back with the biggest goddamn asshole
Where are you?
in
Oh,
the
God.
entire fucking game.
Oh
Just
yes.
keep this scene in mind.
I'd forgotten about it.
Especially considering that did he complete his focus, because this is what completing a focus looks like. No, he did not. For reasons. I know this. As a hero.
Focus, and maybe to be human.
Deep.
There's always more bullshit in this game.